All right, we're going to get started with our 13-2 guided practice. So today, our first question is wanting us to kind of realize and understand why some numerical expressions use parentheses. And so if we think back to yesterday, you guys were introduced to PEMDAS. And the P in PEMDAS stands for parentheses. And we know based off that little saying that parentheses always come first when we're solving our numerical expressions. So the reason that some numerical expressions use parentheses is so we know what to do first when solving the expression. Right? We even yesterday had an example where we had the same numbers, but one of the expressions used parentheses and another one didn't. And we saw yesterday that sometimes we can get different answers if parentheses are in a different place or if parentheses are not being used. So just always remember parentheses come first. All right, so our second question is to show how to use a property to write an equivalent expression for 9 times 7 plus 44. Okay, so if you guys remember some of your properties, the one for me that I think is the most easiest would be the distributive property. So the distributive property tells me to take everything that's on the outside and put it into the inside. So that means this is now going to turn into 9 times 7 plus 9 times 44. Okay, let me write distributive. All right, so then that's one way to represent that using a different property. Or we could simply just use our property of addition. So if I have 9 times 7 plus 44, my property of addition, I'm going to go ahead and add what's in the inside. So 44 plus 7 gives me 51. So that leaves me with 51 times 9. Okay, I'm going to put addition up here. All right, so now if I were to actually solve these out, let's see if we get the same answers. All right, so I'm going to take 9 times 7. So 9 times 7 gives me 63. Then I'm going to take 9 times 44. I'm going to do that off to the side over here. 44 times 9. All right, so 9 times 4 gives me 36. 9 times 4 gives me 36, plus the 3 gives me 39. So I'm going to have 63 plus 396. So if I go ahead and add those, 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 plus 6 is 15. And carry that, and I'm going to have 459. All right, so that was using the distributive property. Now I'm going to come over and use that addition property where I went ahead and did what was in the parentheses first. So I'm going to take 51 times 9. All right, 9 times 1, using 9. Then 9 times 5 gives me 45. So we used two different properties, but we got the same answer. All right, so now we are going to go on to question number 3. All right, so our problems today are taking the word form and then turning it into a numerical expression. So number 3 says add 8 and 7, but it's all written out. So add 8 and 7, and then multiply by 2. Okay. So this, I have to read this and do what it's telling me but I'm going to put it into an expression form. So add 8 and 7. So I know that I'm going to have an 8 plus 7. And then, very important words, multiply by 2. So this word form is telling me that the very first thing I need to do is add 8 and 7. So that means I'm going to put parentheses around that 8 and 7 and then multiply by 2. Okay? So if we were to actually do that, 8 plus 7 would give me 15. Then I would multiply by 2. And so my final answer would be 30. All right, question number 4. It says find triple the difference between 44/75 and 22.8. Okay. Find triple the difference between 44.75 and 22.8. Okay. Remember, difference means subtraction. So I'm going to be subtracting 44.75 minus 22.8. And then I need to find triple. So triple would be 3. And that's telling me to multiply. But I'm going to have to subtract first. Okay. All right, number 5. All right, so multiply 4 times 7/8, and then add 12. Okay, so multiply 4 times 7/8 and then add 12. Okay, so I know I'm going to have 4 times 7/8 and then 12. Now this one, because we have the rule of PEMDAS, I know multiplication comes before addition. So even without having parentheses, I would know to do 4 times 7/8 before I add 12. But if you want to add those parentheses in, you are more than welcome to. All right. And then number 6 says add 49 to the quotient of 125 and 5. Okay, remember quotient is our answer to a division problem. So we know that we're going to be dividing 125 and 5. So 125 divided by 5. And then I'll be adding 49. Now again, because of PEMDAS, I know that my division would come before adding the 49. So you can add the parentheses or not. Up to you. All right. Let me know if you have any questions.